Welcome to Inspiring Nations with Sonja Keeve Radio Show, an affiliate of Creative Broadcasting and TALK Radio TV Network LLP. Question: where do you draw your inspiration? Join us as we feature women from across the globe with incredible stories of how they inspire nations every day. Now, here is your host, Sonja Keeve.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Inspiring Nations. I am your host, Sonja Keeve, and I am super excited to bring my next guest to our show today. And we have then other Miss Deborah Hanson. And let me tell you a little bit about her. Deborah Hanson is a multifaceted business owner with a background in human services, mental health, home ownership education, and nonprofit management. She has a wellness business in which she co-hosts a monthly and intimate conversation and tea social for women to gather over a cup of tea to connect, share their stories, gain inspiration, and learn from one another. She is an amazing social entrepreneur and ambassador for Noonday. She creates marketplaces for global artisan partners, offering them dignified wages for their handcrafted jewelry and accessories. She is truly a unique jewelry admirer and has an amazing collection, and we're going to talk a little bit more about how Noonday Collection is changing the world and impacting the lives of those every day. And so without further ado, please welcome to the show my guest, Miss Deborah Hanson. Well, hello, superstar.
Hi, Sonja. Hi. Thank you so much for having me this evening as a guest. I'm so excited to be on your show and to share about my passion.
I am so happy. Yes, I am so happy that you are here. Now, one of the things right at the top of the hour, I did read a brief part of your bio, but for my listening audience, for those who don't know who you are, just tell us a little bit more about who you are and whom you serve.
Okay. Well, first of all, I must say that I am a daughter and a mother. My business or my professional background, I work in the mental health counseling field. I'm also an educator. I'm a connector. I love to connect women, especially entrepreneurs. I'm a mentor. I'm one who encourages others. And my most recent endeavor is an ambassador or stylist for Noonday Collection.
Yes, and I was so interested in hearing more about Noonday, and we're really going to talk more about that. But you are definitely doing some amazing things, and I didn't know much about Noonday. I was doing a little research on it, and I was really impressed about the things that I'm seeing. So just tell us a little bit about how Noonday and your collection is changing lives across the world.
Okay, well, I first have to tell you how Noonday got started.
Okay.
Noonday got started or launched in 2010, so the company has been around for 8 years. And the founder of Noonday is Jessica Honegger. She's from Austin, Texas. And Jessica started the company out of a need that she and her husband had to raise funds for an adoption, for an international adoption. They were in the process of adopting their son from Rwanda, and they needed some additional funds. So a friend of theirs knew of a couple in Uganda who had some jewelry that they had some problems selling there. So they talked about the need to expand the marketplace. So Jessica got the jewelry from Uganda, and she brought it home to Austin, and she launched a trunk show. 8 years ago, she brought the jewelry in. She really stepped out on faith. That's one of the things that I love about the story. It's all about faith. She stepped out on faith. She was concerned that no one would show up for her. But to make a long story short, people did show up. Women showed up. They purchased the jewelry. They loved the jewelry. And 8 years later, and it's a lot that happened in between that time, but 8 years later, Noonday is known in the nation as one of the top and largest fair trade brand in the country. So, as I said, there's a lot that happened in those 8 years, but that's how it got started. It got started on faith, passion, purpose, and Going Afraid, and a little later too, I'll tell you about a book that Jessica wrote last year that encourages women to go afraid and to step out and to launch.
Yes. Well, one of the things that I love of just hearing the story is that once again, as women, we know how to identify a need and fill it, because that's kind of how successful entrepreneurs really start their journey, is just discovering sometimes it's a personal need for ourselves, and then we realize it ends up being a blessing for other people. So when she brought the collection back, is it like different type of pieces, or does she travel a lot to get the collection? Like, how does that all work?
Okay, and I'm glad that you asked me, because I was going to definitely share. We are partnering with 14 different countries across the world. So it started off with the very first artisan partner, as I mentioned, was in Uganda, East Africa. But over that period of time, the company expanded and developed additional partnerships, and so now we have 14 artisan partners across the globe, and I'm going to share with you who those partners are, where they're located. So some of the partnering countries are Mexico, Haiti, Ecuador, Peru, Guatemala, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Uganda, as I mentioned, Kenya, East Asia, Vietnam, and India. So those are the countries that we're partnering with. And so how it's working now is that the artisans make the jewelry, and they actually ship it to us here in the U.S. And also, I forgot to mention that Noonday did evolve, and it is now a direct selling company. So in the U.S., we have about 2,000 reps or ambassadors across the U.S. that are actually creating these marketplaces via trunk shows and also hosting events in the community to be able to showcase the jewelry and sell the jewelry and accessories, because it's not just jewelry. We also have handbags and we have scarves. And you asked me about what types of jewelry.
Yeah.
And everything is so beautiful, and I am definitely a lover of jewelry, and especially unique art. You know, I love art. So some of the pieces that we have, and those first pieces were paper beads. And the unique thing about paper beads, and these were the beads that we received from Uganda, sheets of paper that the artisans use, that they transform. They cut the paper, they dye it, they roll each bead individually by hand to create, and so we have necklaces and bracelets with the paper beads, and they are absolutely beautiful. So that's just one example of some of the art and jewelry that we have in our product line are the paper beads.
And I'm fascinated, so with the paper beads, so they actually, it's actual paper. Like, how does it, be able to stay for someone to purchase it? Like, I'm trying to just imagine paper and it actually turning into a necklace.
And they use a finishing that they put on once they finish making the beads. They have a finisher that goes on it, so it is sturdy. It doesn't break or anything like that. So it is very durable. So, and it does last a long time. So it's not something that would, tear or break. So it is very durable after they finish the whole process of making the beads.
Wow. And what, because you're such a lover of jewelry, how did you even connect to Noonday? I mean, because you could have gone anywhere. So what was it specifically that drew you in to want to be a part of the collection and be a part of the company?
Well, I was doing some research online. I believe I probably first found out about Noonday on social media, searching for an additional way that I could be successful in business, and also looking for something that I could do that was fulfilling and not only be something good in my community, but a way that I can impact other women across the globe. So I heard about Noonday, and I did some additional research, looking online, reading the website, just reading the stories, and then I connected with a local entrepreneur or an ambassador here in the Richmond, Virginia area. So, and when talking with her, I was able to join the company and sign up as an ambassador. So that's how I first got started. But again, once I saw just the beauty in the pieces and began to read the stories of the artisans and how impactful it is to, once we buy the jewelry here in the U.S., and just the stories of how these artisans across the globe, these women, are able to keep their families together, are able to send their children to school, are able to learn a trade, because before noonday, they struggled in those areas. So when I began to see, wow, you mean if I can purchase jewelry, if I can share this with my friends and my community, that we can actually impact a woman in Kenya or a woman in Haiti or a woman in Uganda. So that's what really connected me to the Noonday story, was just knowing that I could empower not just women in my community, but women across the world.
And you are a shining example of what this show is all about, inspiring nations, because you all have this cooperative with other countries and giving back, like you said, to other women in the other countries that are not only putting the pieces together, but there's a story. So if you can think of one, are there any stories that were shared with you about some of the pieces were made, like what were the stories behind the inspiration of some of the pieces?
Wow, there's so many, Sonja. And there's so many. If I could just narrow down one, each month Noonday is featuring an artisan. And this month we're featuring an artisan from India. And I'll just share a little bit about her story. Her name is Sunita, and she is a partner in India. And again, I'll just share briefly a little bit about her story. She, prior to joining Noonday as a partner and beginning to make the jewelry, she was not as empowered because she got married at a young age. And in some countries, the males are more dominant in the workforce, so sometimes the women don't have the opportunity to go out and work. So in this example, she heard about Noonday. She got connected. She started working as one of the partners. And also, let me share this with you. I did mention everything is made by hand, so there's no mass production out. Wherever the artisans are in their communities, they have these workshops. So they're actually in a workshop, and Sunita, she became a leader in the workshop in her community. So it's a small group of women and men who are making the jewelry. So again, it's not mass produced. They're sometimes even, for example, in Guatemala, the women are able to make their jewelry in their home so that they can stay with their children, so they don't have to leave home. So that's just an example of a couple of the stories about the women making the pieces in their communities. And I do want to share, there's so much to share, but something else that I just came to my mind I want to share with you. And then after I share this next story, I want to, if I can share some statistics with you on how we have been able to impact the world over the last 8 years. But in East Asia, we have a partnership there where we're able to help women leave brothels and leave exploitation and teach them a trade such as making jewelry. So that is very phenomenal to those women who, for whatever reason, may not have a trade or didn't have any other choice but to go into the brothel. But we have a partnership there in East Asia where we are training the women to make jewelry so that they do not have to return to those types of jobs. So I'm really excited about that partnership. And the jewelry that is made in East Asia is 10-karat gold field, and they're beautiful, delicate pieces. Like one of our most popular pieces is called the Belief Necklace, and it's actually a cross, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So that's an example of one of the pieces that's coming from East Asia. And if I can share, can I share some statistics with you, Sonja, and your audience? Okay, over the last 8 years, I'm just going to share some of our great statistics where we have impact. Okay, let me get that information. Okay. And I mentioned earlier one of the ways the ambassadors are showcasing the jewelry is that we're having trunk shows or gatherings in homes. And also, as I mentioned, we can have or host a trunk show at a business, at another office, et cetera, coffee shop, bookstore. So over the past 8 years, we have hosted 14,000 trunk shows.
Wow.
And
14,000?
14,000, yes. 65 children of artisans have benefited from free daycare. Our partner in Uganda, she was able to open up a daycare for her community, and the artisans who work in her group, their children are able to attend daycare free of charge. So again, from buying a piece of jewelry from Noonday in the U.S., we're able to help these children go to daycare in their countries for free. Also, another statistic, out of the 14 countries that we partner with, 3,200 women are in those countries. So again, we do have males that are a part of the artisan family, but I did want to, since this is Women's History Month, I did want to highlight that we have 3,200 women that were empowered from the orders that were made, the orders that were purchased here in the U.S. to help them. Let's see. And I have not yet mentioned the fact that Noonday has, in addition to our regular trunk shows, we also have adoption trunk shows. Since Noonday started as a result of Jessica and her husband's need to raise funds for an adoption, one of the ways that the company gives back to the community is that if there is a family that is in the process of adopting, whether it's a domestic or international adoption, the company donates 10% of someone who's hosting an adoption trunk show. The company will donate 10% to that family from the sales of that trunk show. So that money doesn't come out of the entrepreneur's pocket. It actually comes from the company. So that's another way that Noonday gives back in their missions to help families.
Wow. And while you were talking, I was actually looking up the website. And if you could just share what is the website so people can go to it.
Okay. My website is www.deborah, DeborahHanson.Noonday Collection, NoonDayCollection.com. I know that's a lot, but basically it's my name, DeborahHanson.NoondayCollection.com.
Okay. And I hope for my listening audience you have heard that. And for those that are just joining us, my name is Sonja Keeve, and I am the host of Inspiring Nations radio show in affiliation with Creative Broadcasting and Talk Radio and TV LLP. And today we have none other than Miss Deborah Hanson, and we're talking about what's the Noonday Collection and how it's impacting the lives of women every single day. And this company has been inspired by creating very unique pieces through a cooperative partnership with other women in other countries who actually make the jewelry by hand, and they ship it to the United States, where we all get to enjoy just the amazing pieces. But the bigger piece of it is that every sale goes back. There's a percentage that goes back to the women who are in these cooperatives so that they can build up their communities. And, Deborah, one of the things that I thought about for the women that have been so blessed to be benefited by some of the pieces, what has been some of the feedback that you have gotten from those that have purchased a piece from the collection?
Wow, it's amazing, because when you wear a piece, you just know that you've done something to help a greater good. And in Noonday, one of our hashtags is Style Your Friends, Change the World. And so we don't minimize if it's just one piece. We know that this one piece is going to make a difference. One entrepreneur, one ambassador helps to support 3 artisans. So we know that every single piece makes a huge difference. So some of the feedback that I receive is just the beauty, knowing that it was someone's hands, that artistic talents and gifts that produced this piece. So I get lots of positive feedback whenever someone makes a purchase because they know that it's impactful. And I do want to share something that I'm really excited about, if I may. I mentioned the founder, Jessica Honegger. I'm so inspired by her. She wrote a book last year called Imperfect Courage.
Mm-hmm.
Is to live a life of purpose by leaving comfort and going scared. And I had the wonderful opportunity to meet Jessica in person when she did her book tour last year. And one of my goals for this year, Sonja, is that I'm actually going to be hosting book discussions from Imperfect Courage. And my reason for wanting to do that is to encourage other women to go afraid, to step out, to pursue that thing that's been sitting on the shelf and that's what the whole purpose of this book is to really encourage women to leave comfort and to go scared, because we have so many dreams and so many visions that sometimes we let sit and we just don't pursue them. But I'm going to be holding some book discussions and hopefully some tea and just helping women to launch. And in doing so, also I will be showcasing the jewelry because I want people to be able to see the beautiful pieces and the story behind Jessica's book. And one other thing that I want to share that really inspired me, one day this week, Jessica was on Facebook Live, and she had a list of things that she had written down when she first started Noonday. And just to give an example, these were the things that she wanted, that she prayed or asked God for, and to grow the business. I want more ambassadors. I want to reach this level of sales. She had a list to think about, and I always think about you and how you speak of intention. And yesterday, Sonja, although I have many, many, many journals at home, yesterday I stopped and I went to the store because I said, I've got to do what Jessica did. I went to the store, I bought a brand new journal, and I said, I'm going to be more intentional about what I want to see as a result of my business with Noonday. So I got my new journal yesterday. I started writing down what I would like to see happen. And also not just for me, but as I'm partnering with others in the community, how I want to see them blessed, and also just be in agreement with what they would like to see. So I had to share that piece of inspiration to you and your audience because I know that you often talk about being intentional. So I was very inspired to start to be more intentional and actually writing down exactly what I would like to see happen.
Well, it is a great segue into my next question. What things do you want to see happen as a result of your partnership with Noonday? You knew that was coming.
I've got a big, big dream.
Yes.
And I had a little delay in launching. I joined the company last fall, and I had some delays in launching. But this year I said, you know what? No more sitting aside. No more, dreaming and wishing. I've got to get out there. This is something that I'm passionate about and I love. And so it's time for me to get out there and share, because people often are looking for things that we have, and we don't know that if we don't share them. So one of my big dreams, or one of my big goals, is that I need to really increase my sales this year, because one of the benefits that Noonday offers to the top sellers in the company is that we get to go and travel abroad to actually visit the artisans. So that is a goal of mine. I've got some work to do this year to meet that goal by the end of the year. But I believe that I can do it if I start working, being diligent, getting out, meeting people, showing the jewelry, telling the stories. I believe I can see that come to reality. So that's one of my big goals. And also And also, as an ambassador, and since we are in direct sales, the goal of direct sales is that you do expand and grow by asking others to join you. So that is a part of my plan as well, is that I will be looking for other sisters to come aboard and join me as an ambassador. So those are my goals, two of my goals for the year.
And outside, because I know you mentioned moments ago that one of the things that you want to do is to kind of have a book and tea conversation around, being able to have the courage to do the things that really make you scared, but do it anyway. So outside of, having that conversation and tea workshops that you want to launch, what is next for you?
What is next for me? Well, my most immediate thing that I'm looking for, and it's just a matter of me asking, is the partnerships, is getting out in the community, finding those other entrepreneurs that would have me on as a host. And I'm going to be looking for those owners of the coffee shops, the bookstores, those, places where I can go and share the story, showcase the products, and be able to really build. So those are some of my immediate things that I'm working on, is finding those collaborations and those partners.
And then with that, in your journey since you started last fall with the company, what has been some of the things that have given you some aha moments, if any?
Aha moments. Well, most recently when I went to a conference this weekend, and there were many, many, many vendors there, beautiful pieces, jewelry, clothing, bags, etc. Everything a woman would love, everything. So, and my aha moment was the ladies that stopped by, and they said they could just tell from looking. They was like, "Wow, your pieces are so unique. Are they handmade?" And so I got those kind of questions and those kind of looks, and I thought, out of all the, like I said, just multiple vendors that were there, all beauty, beautiful pieces there, is that the people that stopped by were really impressed with the uniqueness of the pieces, and they could tell that it was handcrafted, and we say made with love. So I would say that was an aha moment for me, because it was my first time actually getting out in a big venue. And that was my aha moment, and it just gave me the extra courage to say, okay, Deborah, you got to, keep it going, because people are looking for what I have to offer. And if I don't get out there and, show it and showcase it, they won't know what I have, and then I'm not helping the artisans if I'm not getting out and if I'm not sharing the story and sharing the pieces. So that was a very recent aha moment for me.
Well, I want to say, I have just thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today, and I learned some things just hearing your story and hearing how you are truly impacting nations everywhere you go, and being able to tell the stories of those women in the other countries who can't tell their story face to face, but it can be told through the jewelry that they're making. And so I want to thank you for being courageous and saying yes to your dreams, because I know that anyone who's listening right now can be inspired by what you're doing, and who knows, they may be just inspired to come on board with you so that they can share and build this global partnership. So thank you so much for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me again. I really appreciate it.
And before I let you go, I just want to get your final thoughts. I want you to finish this sentence for me, okay?
Okay.
I believe
that we all can make a difference. I believe that if we have hope, that we will be able to continue to get up every day and pursue something that gives us joy. And I think that's what living this world is all about, is having hope and giving back and sharing love.
And lastly, what is it that you know for sure?
What I know for sure is that everyone needs and appreciates love, and it's not that hard to give.
Well, Miss Deborah Hanson, thank you so much for being a guest on my show. It was truly a pleasure to have you.
It was my honor to be here and to be a part of your show. Thank you so much, Sonja.
And this is another edition of Inspiring Nations. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Inspiring Nations with Sonja Keeve Radio Show. I challenge each of you to perform one simple act of kindness and pass it forward. For more information on how you can be a guest on our show, visit www.sonjakeeve.com. We hope to see you next time.